Hello my viewers, welcome back to the Advanced League. I'm Starstruck Shiny, and boy, we've got a good one for you today. From the Wishing Star Jirachis, it's Spreek, and from the 710 Spheals, it's Xalvadore. In this set, Xalvadore was subbed in at the last minute, and their star rating was lower than Spreek's original opponent at the time. Will this series be an uphill battle for the 710 Spheals at the start, or will Spreek's preparation be in vain? Let's get it on, let's play Showdown. That's a Smeargle lead against a Tyranitar. I don't recommend sporing the Smeargle on turn 1 because Tyranitar could have a Lumberry and try to set up or use an attack. Scouting with Fake Out is a possibility, but then you would miss out on a move slot. Xalvadore cannot possibly know what Spreek has in the back, so choosing an optimal sleep sack is a challenge for sure. Spreek leading with Smeargle also hints at a hyper offense team. Spreek goes for the Spore anyway and is fortunate that the other lead does not have a Lumberry. Xalvadore has to switch out right away as Smeargle goes for the free Spike layer. The plot further thickens. Spreek plays no games and gets Smeargle to use Destiny Bond, a favorable trade against the Swampert. This Jolteon and a couple of rock types are going to be thriving very soon, I think. Spreek's own Swampert pivots in on a Choice Band Earthquake from Metagross, and neither player wants to keep their Pokemon in. Xalvadore brings in Celebi and Spreek brings in Gengar. Unsurprisingly, this Gengar is faster than the Celebi. Next, Spreek's Tyranitar pivots in on a Psychic. Spreek decides to further speed up the game by Dragon Dancing on the Switch, though it's unlikely Tyranitar can break through this Metagross unscathed. Well, there you have it, it actually did KO the Metagross. Salamence tries to weaken the Tyranitar, but the boosting Sweeper claims its second kill. That moment of bad luck did sting for Xalvadore, but he would have needed a Dragon Dance Brick Break set in order to actually force out the Tyranitar, and even then Spreek can switch out. We see Tyranitar revealing its lack of Hidden Power Bug or Double Edge, and he gets another Rock Slide flinch! What is this RNG? And it's such a fast-paced game too. Fortunately the Celebi does have Recover, but this Tyranitar is just going for another Dragon Dance. We finally find out that Hidden Power from Celebi is a 2-hit KO on the Tyranitar, but it might be too little too late. Spreek's Setup Sweeper has already put in a lot of effort in this game.
Celebi cannot move again!
I cannot believe what I'm seeing! Xalvadore's attempts to check this Tyranitar are just going up in rocks 27% after 27%. I absolutely cannot blame Xalvadore for forfeiting early like this. I think Spreek's game plan pretty much worked to perfection. Bank on the lead holding leftovers, Spore it on turn 1, prey on the opponent not relying on sleep turn RNG, trading Smeargle with a key defensive piece, and having the requisite win condition sweep without any resistance, and having the hacks as a bonus. Had the sweep been cut short by the Celebi, I think Spreek would have still had a chance to win via the combination of other attackers, but it's hard to say with certainty. Xalvadore's matchup was also just not good. Xalvadore's balance team of sorts can be volatile in battles where the offensive momentum is really high. If Xalvadore had a faster lead than Smeargle, then Spreek would have instantly been on the back foot. How will both players fare in the next game? Let's find out. To kick this game off, Xalvadore doubles down on the Tyranitar lead, and Spreek chooses the uncommon Flygon lead. Xalvadore gets forced out, and Skarmory dodges the Earthquake. Instead of resigning itself to one layer, Xalvadore double switches into Swampert as Spreek tries to go for the Magneton trap. More pivoting happens in the next 2 turns, and Celebi using Leech Seed on this structure makes me think that this is a Swords Dance pass team from Spreek, but I can't really be sure. Never mind, I think this is just a bulky Celebi, and Blissey's Ice Beam is not going to do much to it in the long run, so Gengar has to take charge. Also, as a side note, and I'm totally not foreshadowing, I've seen an uptick of Gengar using Fire Punch, and I don't know why. It is good coverage, but it constrains your moveset by a lot. On the next turn, this Tyranitar successfully pursuit traps the Gengar. I'm guessing Xalvadore's best bet was calling the bluff and predicting Tyranitar using Crunch on the switch. Not much really happens after that, just both sides minimizing the amount of damage taken, and Xalvadore making sure the Skarmory doesn't get trapped a second time. I still think it's better for Xalvadore to just get the layer of spikes and then die to Magneton. Chipping the common Tyranitar and Celebi switch-ins would be pretty advantageous. A skillful double switch was made here, and it resulted in Celebi matching up against the Swampert. Spreek's Celebi can just keep clicking Leech Seed, though he would appreciate the targets taking more lasting damage from it. It's only until turn 16 where Xalvadore decides to spike with Skarmory, though maybe that could also be an overprediction on his part, who's to say. The Protect could have gotten Skarmory out of Thunderbolt range, but Spreek's Pokemon has a Magnet. This Magneton is not done though, it toxics the Tyranitar, as it tries to go for a sweep of its own. Though this time, Spreek's Tyranitar checks are in good position. Gyarados can pivot, Celebi's pretty defensive, and Flygon can take Earthquake and Rock Slide. Tyranitar's mid-ground option and its Toxic, poisoning are putting it in one hell of a timer. I'm not sure if it would have been fruitful for Xalvadore to switch out Tyranitar and try again later, and Magneton's Protect makes Toxic stalling a lot easier. Xalvadore did switch in Swampert to keep Tyranitar sort of safe, but Magneton did Toxic on the switch, as a good read from Spreek. Celebi doesn't even need to revenge kill the Swampert here, it can just Leech Seed again. And even with meager damage from hidden power grasses, Celebi is still not in a particularly good position. All it could really do is soft-boiled for its life. On this turn, Xalvadore decides to sacrifice their Tyranitar, and it seems to be for the sole purpose of shrugging off Leech Seed, or a double switch. Though to be fair, it can't really do much in the endgame anyway, though I feel like there would have been a better use for it as a death fodder. But once again, it's not easy to make such decisions, while you're fighting against all odds to keep your team in the semifinals. Bizarrely, Blissey doesn't softblood on this turn and just keeps spamming Ice Beam. And Blissey did freeze it though, but what's stopping it from coming back on another turn? Looks like Blissey's fated to die very soon. Xalvadore sends in Starmie as Spreek sends in Registeel. Unafraid of repeated Hydro Pumps, Spreek goes for the Curse as Swampert comes in. Spreek makes the right call in preserving Registeel by having Gyarados take care of the Swampert. Wasting no time, Gyarados steps up right away on the Starmie switch, and I'm thinking it's Spec to outspeed Starmie. This hidden power doesn't kill because it's not Ghost, and Starmie finishes off the Gyarados. And we've come full circle! Once again, Xalvadore has to switch out because Starmie cannot finish Registeel off in one hit, so Swampert takes charge, and a critical hit Earthquake does 22%, can you believe it? On the next turn, Tyranitar comes in on the Earthquake and actually survives. Definitely not expecting Xalvadore to click Hydro Pump. Crunch does bring the Swampert very low, and the Tyranitar valiantly goes down. The last couple of turns are pretty much locked down by Celebi. Xalvadore's Blissey does not want to heal, and both water types die to one hit in power. Overall, I think the matchup was quite a bit in Spreek's favor. Magneton trapped the Skarmory, got a little bit more use of Toxic, and its teammates were able to rain down physical offense apart from Celebi. On the other side, Spreek's TSS team wasn't really able to make full use of its offensive potential, due to there only being one Spike, and some of Spreek's Pokemon not being weakened enough for Starmie to clean up in the late game. The defensive pieces Skarmory and Gengar got trapped, and Swampert getting Toxic at full health was not doing Xalvadore any favors there. Both players did put in their best efforts though, in spite of the last minute matchup shakeup. At that point in this week, Spreek narrowed the point gap, making the score 3-5, with the Spheals still being in the lead. It takes 7 to advance to the finals. Stay tuned to see which two teams make it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter video. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Starstruck Shiny, signing off.